Salve Discipuli. Welcome to Grammar Lesson 31. Lesson 31 grammar is not all that bad. Really, we get a new declension in the fifth declension here. And then we learn a little bit about the formation of adverbs. In fact, some of what I'm going to give you regarding the adverbs is review. You may not remember it, but once you see it, hopefully it won't be too much of a challenge for you. So some of it's new, some of it's review. So let's start with our fifth declension, which, I have good news for you, is the last declension we will study. Of course, we want to say hello to Miss Ice, who has joined us yet again. See how devoted she is to you guys? All right, so the fifth declension. It is mostly a feminine declension, by which I mean the nouns in the fifth declension are usually feminine. I do not mean that only women use the declension. There are some exceptions out there, but most of the time you're going to be looking at a feminine fifth declension noun. The letter that predominates is the letter E, which is one of my 5 favorite vowels. All right, so what does the fifth declension look like? First of all, for a dictionary entry, you will see something like this: race, rei, feminine, thing. This is an example of a fifth declension noun. The pattern you will see is the first part of a dictionary entry will say es. The end will end in es. The second part will end in ei. Okay, so ace, ae. I'm leaving out all the long marks because they do not matter for the fifth declension. They will not cause you any confusion. Okay, so there's the fifth declension noun, ace, ae. So, what does this chart actually look like? In the nominative singular, we're going to end up with ace. In the genitive, we're going to end up with ae, just like we see in the dictionary entry. In the dative singular, we're going to end up with ae, again, just like the genitive. In the accusative singular, we're going to end up with m. Not a major surprise here. And in the ablative singular, I'll bet many of you can predict this. It's usually just a vowel, and here it's going to be the one vowel that predominates the fifth declension, the letter E. So, what do the plurals look like? For the nominative, the plural is going to be ace, the same ace we have here. Technically, it's a long es, but again, we're not too concerned about that right now. In the genitive plural, it's going to be arum. In the dative plural, it's going to be somewhat familiar to you, abus. In the accusative plural, it's going to be ace again. And in the ablative plural, abus. So please note, we have ace, ace, ace in those 3 spots. That's going to be confusing. We've seen that sort of thing before. It means we're really going to have our wits about us. Notice we have the same ending in the genitive and the dative. Okay? And as always, your dative and ablative plural look the same. So there's your fifth declension. It is a really, really rare declension. It is really uncommon. The most common words from it are the word race, which I just showed you, which means thing, and then the word dies, which means day. So we need to cover just some of the oddities of this word race, rei, feminine, and it means thing. This word can actually have a lot of different meanings based on what adjective it's paired with. Okay, I'll show you what I mean. You might run across you might run across this noun-adjective pair, race and frumentaria. You might recognize a Latin noun in here, all right, frumentum, the noun for grain. So this is the adjective form, and so you've got grain-like thing is what we're talking about here. The grain-like thing. That is the same as saying the food supply. So the res frumentaria is the food supply. Let me give you another example of a word where race, or a situation where race combines with an adjective. Res publica. Okay, what is this? It's the public thing, or the republic. That's where we get our word republic from, or simply the state. Okay, the public matter, the public affair, that's the republic, that's the state. So res publica means republic or state. Another very common one is res gestae. These are things having been done. From gero, gerera, gessi, gestas. Okay, things having been done are, what do you think, class? That's right. Deeds or accomplishments. Those are things having been done. Deeds or accomplishments. So you see how versatile this word res is. No surprise for a word that means thing. All right, moving on, we got one more. Res novae. Literally, this means new things. Okay, new things. For the Romans, new things are usually bad. The Romans approached this word nois aum in a negative way. They assumed that change was often a bad thing. Okay, so res novae is the word or phrase for revolution. Okay, new things. Just to drive home the point that the Romans had a negative connotation for the word nois aum, meaning new, you have this word revolution. Obviously, it's got kind of a negative connotation. The Romans, when they first learned of Christianity, called it a nova religio, or a religio nova, which equals new religion. Now, the Romans were suspicious of Christianity simply because it was new. It was strange, it was unfamiliar. In a lot of ways, the Romans were conservatives. When a new religion pops up, they're suspicious of it. Okay, that's just a little gravy there for you, gentlemen. Well, that was fun. Okay, so we've got our versatile word res that means a variety of different things when it's paired with an adjective. These are pretty common expressions. Okay, so there's not much left here. We simply have to talk about adverbs, and we will be done. All right, in the past, you were introduced to the concept that first and second declension adjectives, that is adjectives that follow first and second declension patterns, all right, can become adverbs. The way they do that is you find the stem, essentially, right here, miser, and then you add, does anybody know what letter? Letter E, misere. So if the adjective miser, misera, misera means miserable or sad or wretched, the adverb form misere means miserably, sadly, or wretchedly. You'll see all we did was add an E. I'm being a little careless with long marks today. That's technically a long E, but again, it won't make any difference for us. Let me give you another example. Latus, lata, latum. Perhaps you remember that this word means wide. So it's a first and second declension pattern word. See, first, second declension pattern. The adverb form looks like this. Latte. Okay, meaning widely. So pretty easy. You've got an adjective, its adverb form isn't ending in an E. No big deal. Now this shifts a little bit when you have adjectives that come from the third declension. Okay, for example, acer, acris, acra, which means sharp or fierce. Okay, to make that an adverb, instead of adding E at the end, which would obviously make it kind of confusing because of the E there, we are going to add iter. Acriter, we got our base from right here, ACR. Acriter is the adverb form. Okay? The adjective means fierce or sharp. Acriter therefore means fiercely or sharply. Let me give you another third declension adjective. All right? Brevis, brewa, which means short. Okay? Again, it's a third declension adjective. So the adverb is going to be breviter. Now, what does that ultimately mean for us? And by the way, so if brevis, brewa means short, breviter means shortly. Okay? Or brevis, brewa means brief, breviter means briefly. So here's the deal. Ultimately, you should be aware of the fact that words that end in long E could be adverbs, but likewise, words that end in ITER could be adverbs as well. And really, that's all I require you to know at this point. Incidentally, I guarantee somebody's wondering how you know that these are third declension adjectives. And the answer is if any of their forms end in IS in their dictionary entry, it's a third declension adjective. And that means that to make it an adverb, we would add iter. All right, Discipuli. That video was a little longer than I hoped, but that's all you have to do is watch it and take notes, and I will see you in class. Wa later.